Welcome back into our coverage of SEC Media Days 2024 from Dallas, Texas. Florida Gators just coming through and visiting with the media. Billy Napier, the former Furman quarterback, going into his third season. Hard to believe that Florida has had three straight losing seasons. Got to go back in 1947 to find that kind of losing streak for the Gators. Billy Napier 6-7 and 5-7 in his two seasons. That's 11 and 14. That's not going to sit well for very long in Gainesville. So there is pressure on Billy Napier, though he says that things take time and he is urging patience of his fan base, but you know how that goes. So there is some heat under his seat going into the season. Finished last year with 5 straight losses. So they have got to get off to a good start this year and see if they can get back on the winning side of things as soon as possible. Their last SEC championship for Florida. Can you still consider Florida an elite SEC team? Last SEC championship was 2008. They have certainly slipped from that elite status. They'll try to turn that around this year. They have 8 returning starters on offense, 6 returning starters on defense. Now, they do have great quarterback situation. Graham Mertz is back after transferring from Wisconsin last year. He was terrific, over 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. He really protected the football. They also have a highly talented freshman quarterback waiting in the wings in DJ Lagway. They took 12 transfers this offseason, 6 on defense, including former Gamecock linebacker Pub Howard. Also took a couple of wide receivers and another transfer to keep an eye on. He's actually coming in as a walk-on, is cornerback Kamani McLean, who is a highly recruited player who went to Colorado and is now transferred to Florida. Last year, the Gators averaged 28 points per game. They allowed 28 points per game, and they've made some changes on their staff. They have a new co-defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts, who comes from Auburn, and he'll be sharing the defensive coordinator job with Austin Armstrong, who's back for his second season. They have a new secondary coach in Will Harris, a new defensive line coach in Gerald Chapman, a new offensive line coach in Jonathan DeCoster. They do have their leading rusher back from last season in Montrell Johnson. Now, he's a load. He's a big guy, and he is going to be back for another year. 3 offensive linemen are back as far as starters go, and 3 on the defensive line as well. So the Florida Gators, can they pick themselves up and get back to where they are used to being or were used to being in the days of Steve Spurrier and, of course, Urban Meyer, and to some degree, Dan Mullen? Can they get back to those big-time winning ways with Billy Napier? If not this season, then when? I think Florida is probably the biggest question mark of the entire league when you try to evaluate the teams 1 through 16. Where do you put Florida? Probably somewhere down below the 8th or 9th spot, I would say. I don't know that you can put them in the upper 8, but with a quarterback like Mertz, he gives you a chance. And with some of these newcomers, these new transfers that they can work in, they might get this thing turned around this year. Certainly, the heat will be turning up on Napier if he doesn't get that done.